Mangwana ni Malilepo Fukenjani Clay Class Wanawe Africa. Welcome to Africa. Good morning. Your portal into Africa's potent stories. Today we begin in Malawi, where President Arthur Peter Mutharika took office with bold vows to rebuild a struggling economy. In Tanzania, opposition leader Tundu Lissu faces a treason trial as the nation braces for tense elections, and police warn against viral military videos fueling unrest. Cameroon's Biya seeks an 8th term amid calls to retire, while South Africa mourns Ambassador Nathi Mthethwa's mysterious death in Paris. We also explore Dangote's $2.5 billion fertiliser project in Ethiopia and youth-led protests in Morocco, plus Zimbabwe's latest report with Talent Gore. Watch AGM on DSTV 285, GOTV 25, 1up2.com, and NTV Africa on YouTube. My name is Ashwin Berry. Top stories shortly. Let's get into the top stories on Africa. Good morning. Malawi's newly re-elected President Arthur Peter Mutharika took the oath of office at Kamuzu Stadium in Blantyre, pledging to tackle corruption and rebuild the struggling economy. The 85-year-old leader won over 56% of the vote in last month's election, defeating outgoing President Lazarus Chakwera, who secured 33%. The September 16 poll marked the fourth presidential showdown between the two. Thousands of supporters in Democratic Progressive Party blue filled the stadium alongside officials and African leaders. In his address, Mutharika said the administration inherited a nation in crisis, facing food shortages, high living costs, and fuel scarcity. There is no money in government, he declared, promising transparency as well as discipline. The honeymoon of looting the government is over, he added, urging hard work and sacrifice. Mutharika appealed for global investment, saying he would send a delegation to the U.S. following aid cuts. Despite his absence from the ceremony, Chakwera wished Mutharika success and good health as Malawi looks ahead under its 7th president. Tanzanian opposition leader Tundu Lissu went on trial for treason in Dar es Salaam on Monday, just weeks before a national election from which his party Chadema has been banned. Prosecutors allege that Lissu's April speech urged citizens to rebel and disrupt the polls. Lissu, who survived the 2017 assassination attempt, came second in the 2020 presidential race and has pleaded not guilty, calling the charges politically driven. His lawyers said state witnesses would begin testifying this week, while Chadema described Lissu as firm and ready. Supporters were reportedly beaten and blocked from court as proceedings began. Now, this was according to lawyer Jebra Kambole. The court barred live coverage to protect witness identities. Lissu's detention and alleged abductions of critics have drawn scrutiny into President Samia Suluhu Hassan's human rights record. Chadema was barred in April after refusing to sign an electoral code of conduct. Hassan, once praised for easing repression, faces mounting criticism as she seeks re-election under the ruling Chama cha Mapinduzi party, which has governed since independence. Staying with Tanzania, Tanzanian police have issued a stern warning against spreading misinformation on social media after a viral video showed an alleged Air Force officer urging military intervention 3 weeks before the general elections. The man, identifying himself as Captain Tesha, accused the government of corruption, rights abuses, and political interference, and called on citizens to demonstrate. The military has not confirmed his identity, and the BBC has been unable to verify his service status. In the video, he urged Defense Chief Jacob Mukunda to act against wrongdoing and claimed soldiers stood with the people. In response, military spokesperson Colonel Bernard Masala Mlunga said such content came from individuals falsely claiming affiliation, insisting the Tanzania People's Defense Force remains loyal and professional. Police described the online circulation of criminal and inflammatory information as a deliberate misuse of social media, and they promised arrests. Opposition activists have reshared the clip, interpreting it as a show of solidarity, while President Samia Suluhu Hassan seeks to retain power under the ruling CCM party amid a tense electoral climate. Cameroon's 92-year-old President Paul Biya has announced his bid for an 8th term, despite growing appeals for him to retire. The veteran leader in power since 1982 said he was responding to insistent calls to remain in office. Critics include Archbishop Sabio Kieda, who defected, ministers, and even Biya's daughter, Breda, who briefly urged citizens to vote him out on TikTok. Yet analysts say Biya remains favored to win the October 12th election, supported by a loyal army, a weak opposition, and entrenched patronage. Health rumors persist after his 42-day absence last year, but the government dismisses them as fiction. Dissent is stifled by laws and fear, with security forces and intelligence agents seen as omnipresent. Main rival Maurice Kamto was disqualified from the ballot after a court ruling prompting Human Rights Watch to question the vote's credibility. Arrests and intimidation have long kept challengers in check. Despite economic struggles, poor infrastructure, and mounting frustration, Biya's dominance over Cameroon's political landscape remains firmly intact. South Africa has dispatched top investigators to Paris following the death of its ambassador Nathi Mthethwa, who was found dead after an apparent fall from the 22nd floor of the Hyatt Regency Hotel. French prosecutors said the window safety mechanism had been tampered with, but found no immediate evidence of foul play. Mthethwa, 58, reportedly sent a distress message to his wife, suggesting suicidal intent before going missing. President Cyril Ramaphosa called the death tragic and ordered a transparent probe. National Police Commissioner Fanny Masemola confirmed that 5 officers would assist French authorities in the investigation. A longtime ally of former President Jacob Zuma, Mthethwa's career spanned roles as police minister and minister of sports, arts and culture. He had recently been named in testimony before a commission probing political interference in South Africa's justice system. His tenure as police minister remains linked to the 2012 Marikana massacre. Appointed ambassador in 2023, Mthethwa's passing has cast a somber shadow over South Africa's diplomatic corps. Those have been our top stories on Africa Good Morning. Shortly, Talent Gore joins us with the Zimbabwe report, but prior to that, it's the weather. It's time for Talent Gore to join us from Harare, Zimbabwe, to deliver the Zimbabwe report. Talent Wamkase.
Africa.
Tamokahedu. Now, Talent, Zimbabwe's economic growth is expected to rebound to a 6% rate this year. Tell us about this.
Yes, well, this is according to the International Monetary Fund, which says that Zimbabwe's economic growth is expected to rebound to a 6% rate this year, citing improving agricultural production, record high gold price, and robust remittances from its citizens living abroad. Economic growth in Zimbabwe, which is engaging with creditors to clear arrears and restructure its debts, fell to 1.7% last year, mainly due to droughts that cut crop output and hydroelectric production. The International Monetary Fund cited the International Monetary Fund called for a tighter fiscal stance to deal with the financial challenges. It said that the government is also struggling with a gap between its oil and parallel foreign exchange rates in spite of the introduction of a gold-backed currency. But in spite of all of that, the IMF says that the economic growth of Zimbabwe is expected to grow by 6% this year. So this is quite exciting for Zimbabwe in general, as we in this economic growth.
All right, Talent, let's move on to your next story. 7 Zimbabweans are suing the Church of England. This has been a huge story, especially on Channel 4 in the UK. Tell us about it.
Yes, 7 Zimbabweans are suing the Church of England for allegedly concealing abuses perpetrated by its top official in the 1980s and 90s after his criminal acts became known in the United Kingdom, where he was born. In 6 men abused as teenagers at John Smith QC's Christian in Zimbabwe, and the mother of Guy Churu, a 16-year-old boy found dead in a swimming pool at one of Smith's camp in 1992. The legal findings by an inquiry that the church's deliberate failure to report Smith's known criminal abuse in the United Kingdom directly led to his relocation to Zimbabwe, where he continued his pattern of sexual violent abuse. According to the claim, abuse included forced nudity, severe beatings with in exposure, and intrusive question masturbation. So these 7 are at the Church of England. So we're just going to be monitoring the situation and see how the Church of England is going to respond to such claims and what they're going to do, or how they're going to settle these claims by these 7 people who are actually suing the Church of England for allegedly concealing abuses perpetrated by one of the 80s and the 1990s.
We certainly hope justice can be served. Bikita South legislator Energy Mutodi has called on Finance Permanent Secretary George Guvamatanga to appear before Parliament to answer to allegations of corruption.
Yes, and you also find out that this is the first time. Apparently, Energy Mutodi is the member of Parliament party. So he has called on Finance Permanent Secretary George Guvamatanga to appear before Parliament to answer to allegations of corruption. Mutodi claimed that Guvamatanga has been demanding between 5% to 10% from contractors in exchange for processing of their payments. Mutodi said despite to summon Guvamatanga, he has deliberately refused to appear before Parliament. Well, apparently, this is not the permanent secretary has been called to appear before Parliament, but either way, he has never appeared before Parliament. He deliberately doesn't go to answer to questions before Parliament. This is the first time that a ZANU-PF member of Parliament exposed corruption. Apparently, Mutodi on his ex handle accounts, he claimed has been receiving kickbacks from contractors for their payments from Treasury, because they are the Treasury. He's the Permanent Secretary of Finance, so he's the one who releases funds for contractors who would have done or acquired equipment or anything of that sort for government. So he's the one who releases the money. So for him to release funds, he allegedly is getting 5% to 10% kickbacks from these contractors. So we are going to see if Guvamatang is actually, this time around, if he's going to appear before Parliament. But most people, rather most parliamentarians from the opposition, we have tried to come and answer to these corruption allegations, but in either way, he has never appeared before Parliament. He just does whatever he wants. He doesn't appear. So right now, we don't know if he's going to appear or he's just going to do what he does and not attend Parliament to answer to these allegations of corruption.
Now, in the last of your stories, Talent, Ngezi Platinum coach Chiragui steps aside from Warriors assistant coach duties after being filmed slapping his own player.
Yes, there was Faro Stadium on Saturday where Ngezi Platinum coach, Zimbabwe national team assistant coach Tekshua Chiragui slapped one of his players for actually trying to calm down. So, coach, the Warriors assistant coach has since apologized and stepped aside from his Warriors duties after slapping one of his own players during a soccer league match against Dynamos on Saturday. The incident, which was captured on live TV, moments after Ngezi conceded a goal in a match that eventually ended 1-1. Chiragui was seen striking midfielder McDonald Makue, apparently in anger after the player tried to calm him down, but he has since apologized and he said that his actions cannot be allowed in football, and the Premier League is actually suspended for three games, and also his team and Ngezi Platinum has also suspended him for 4 games, so he will not be attending the Premier League soccer matches, and also will not be part of the coaching team at Ngezi Platinum for 4 games. But he has since apologized, and you can see on the screen there, that is the letter in which he was suspended by the Premier League, the PSL, the Premier Soccer League, right here in Zimbabwe. So I think that's the first time Zimbabwe coach has actually slapped one of his players, but he has been suspended in the meantime, and we're not really sure as we're back to his coaching duties.
Thank you very much, Talent, for delivering the Zimbabwe report.
You're welcome, and thank you very much for having me.
It's always good having you on Africa. Good morning. Just before we get into the economic news on AGM, we're going to have a look at the indicators, and we'll see you soon. But it's time for us to get into Africa Good Morning's economic news. Africa's richest man, Aliko Dangote, has begun construction of a $2.5 billion fertilizer complex in Gore, Ethiopia, positioning the country as a future agricultural powerhouse. Partnering with Ethiopian investment holdings, the plant will produce 3 million tons of urea annually, ranking among the world's largest. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed hailed it as a symbol of cooperation and peace, urging national unity and progress. Dangote praised Ethiopia's reforms in energy and transport and linked the project to Africa's industrial transformation. He projected that within 5 years, Ethiopia could become the continent's leading agricultural nation. The billionaire plans to expand into ammonium-based fertilizers, further solidifying Ethiopia's hub status. Financial backers include Afrexim Bank and the Africa Finance Corporation. Regional leaders called the project a new dawn for African-led industrialization. Dangote said Africans must drive their own transformation, citing Nigeria's self-sufficiency in cement and fertilizer as a precedent. The Gore complex, using gas from Hilal and Kalub reserves, is expected to create thousands of jobs and strengthen Africa's food security. Protests led by young Moroccans erupted last week across major cities, exposing frustration over inequality and poor public services behind the country's celebrated development image. Inspired by movements in Nepal, Madagascar, Kenya and Peru, the demonstrations turned violent in rural areas, leaving 3 dead and more than 400 arrested before calm returned. The unrest, Morocco's most intense since the 2011 Arab Spring, challenges the government's effort to preserve stability while showcasing progress ahead of the 2030 World Cup, which it will co-host with Spain and Portugal. Protesters demanded better healthcare, education and social equity, despite heavy investment in roads, ports, energy and manufacturing. Disparities persist and many feel excluded from the nation's economic gains. Poverty has fallen, but unemployment and living costs remain high. Prime Minister Aziz Akanouche urged dialogue as the only path forward, promising reforms amid growing discontent. The protests underscore the delicate balance between Morocco's global ambitions and its citizens' demand for fairness back home. Those have been our economic news stories, and those have been our stories on Africa Good Morning. Thank you for joining us on DSTV 285, GOTV 25, NTV Africa on YouTube, as well as oneup2.com. Keeping in mind, on oneup2.com, if you click Echo, you can have a look at this and other Africa Good Morning episodes at your own time, because on Echo, prime time is anytime. My name is Ashwin Berry. This has been Africa Good Morning. We return tomorrow as Rorisam Bokhojwe delivers the Botswana report from China. It's going to be an interesting one. Swela Jokanaka.